Hi guys, welcome back to Weld.com. I'm Michaela and today I have a really exciting video for you, especially if you love Halloween like I do. Weld.com are giving one lucky winner a $100 voucher to spend on the plantswagshop, one full foliage box and one pre-potted custom Weld.com plant. And on the pot it has the Weld.com logo and it even has the quote, "Keep calm and weld on." How cool is that? And they're even planting 100 trees to help reforestation. There are even benefits of having indoor plants in your home, such as it improves creativity and ambience, it even purifies the air in your house, and it just looks great as home decor. Be sure to check out the plantswagshop online and use the code WELD10 for 10% off your order. How to enter the giveaway and all that information will be linked down below. To celebrate this giveaway and seeing as it's Halloween, I'm going to be doing a how-to video on how to create a simple yet spooky spiderweb plant pot stand. Here you have the cutting list of what you need to create this project. So your total length is 4,710 millimeters. You need 4 cut at 350 millimeters, 16 cut at 100 millimeters, 1 cut at 260 millimeters, 2 cut at 125 millimeters, 4 cut at 120 millimeters, 8 cut at 60 millimeters, and 8 cut at 30 millimeters. Now this is everything you need to make this spiderweb plant stand. All cuts are straight at 90 degrees. You can use any bar for this project. I'm using 8mm solid aluminium bar. Here I have all my bar cut at the correct sizes. I'm just going to deburr them with a pair of pliers as I've got a little nib on the end of them. Now we're ready to tack them together. The spiderweb I'm creating today is an octagon shape, which means it has 8 sides. That's why we cut 16 of the 100 millimeters, as I'm going to use one for the base of the plant stand to make it sturdy, and then one for the outside of the spiderweb. Now the angle for these is 135 degrees, and the way I make this easy to tack together is I'm going to mark out on the bench 135 degrees with a digital protractor and a permanent marker. I'm going to open my digital protractor up to 135 degrees. I'm going to lock it in place and then I'm going to draw on my bench with a permanent marker at the angle. Now I've drawn the angle on my table, I'm ready to weld the outside of the base and the web. So I'm going to get 8 pieces of the 100mm bar and I'm just going to pop them on the angle that I've just drawn. I'm going to use some weight blocks to hold them in place while I tack them. Always checking the angle is 135 degrees as I go. To weld this together, I'm using my Miller Destiny 280 TIG machine. As I'm welding aluminium today, I'm using an AC setting and I've got my amps on 120, but I am using a foot pedal. I'm using pure argon shielding gas, and in my TIG torch I have a 2.4mm lanthanated tungsten, and I'm going to use this with 2.4 4043 ESAB aluminium filler rod. Once I'm happy that the bars are 135 degrees and they're in the right place, I'm going to tack it together using filler rod. Once I tack one side, I'm going to take the weights off. I'm going to carefully turn it over to the other side. I'm going to check the angle once again. And then I'm going to tack this side too, just to make sure it doesn't move. Once I've tacked both sides, I'm going to go round and add all the 8 pieces together. all the angles are 135 degrees. And that is one octagon done. We're going to need 2 of these, one for the base of the plant stand and one for the outer of the web. Using the 8 100mm pieces I've got left, I'm going to create another octagon exactly the same way as I did with that one. I'm going to put one octagon to the side for now, as that's the base and we don't need it till later on in the video. But with this octagon, I'm going to create the spider web. The next bit I'm going to tack on is the 260mm bar, and I'm just going to put this straight across the middle. And then I'm going to tack it in place. So I've taken the 260mm bar and put it straight across the octagon. I'm going to take my 2 bits of 125mm and pop them in the spider web like this. These are 2 bits of 125mm and I'm just going to check they're square before I weld them in place. I'm then going to add the 4 bits of 120mm in between these gaps. I'm going to line them up by pointing them towards the middle and then pointing them to the join on the edge. That is all of the sections of the spider web now welded together. I'm now going to add the inner sections. So on the inner section, it's your 30mm bit of bar. And then on the outer section, it's your 60mm bit of bar. Now I've measured these so they're equal distances in between. So the inner section is the 30mm bar and the outer section is the 60mm bar. And I'm now going to tack these in place. Now it's starting to look a bit more like a spider's web. And now I'm going to turn it over and tack weld all the little inner bits again. I'm making sure I add a lot of filler to this just to make sure everything stays in place. So there we have our spiderweb top. This is what we're going to put the plant pot on. Now I've added quite a lot of filler rod to all these welds just to make sure it stays together and it can hold the weight of a plant pot. So this is what I've now got left. I've got the top, which is the spiderweb, I've got the base, which is the other octagon, and then I've got the 4 bits cut at 350mm. These are the legs for the stand. All that's left to do now is to weld it all together and make it look a bit more like a plant stand. I'm starting with my base for my plant pot stand and I'm adding the 4 legs to it. I'm going to add the 4 legs to every other corner. So I've welded the 4 legs onto the base octagon. Now I've welded them in every other corner of the octagon, but as you can see, as I've tacked them, they've gone a bit wonky. So I'm going to go around with an engineer's square and just make them straight before I tack the underside. Once I'm happy with the legs being square, I'm then going to turn it over and tack the underside of the plant stand. Now I've tacked the underside, I'm just going to make sure that they're still square, and if they're not, I'm just going to move them with my hand. Once I'm happy with the legs being square, I'm then going to add the spider web to the top. Once I've welded the spiderweb octagon on top, I'm going to go around again and check everything's square and looking straight. The reason I love working with aluminium is because you can still move it after you've welded it. Steel is a lot harder. Once I'm happy with it, I'm then going to go ahead and weld the inner bits of the spiderweb onto the legs, just to make sure everything stays in place. I'm also going to be using filler, as this makes the weld a little bit stronger so it can hold the plant pot. Now I'm actually going to leave my welds on this, as I love to see the welding I've done on my work. But you could clean them off with an angle grinder or an orbital to make it look a bit more classy. You could make your legs of the stand any length. I've just made mine quite short, but you could have a taller stand, or you could even make more than one stand and have them at different levels. And here we have the finished spooky spiderweb plant pot stand. To add some extra swag to the plant stand, I added some webs on the sides made out of the same bar as I used to make the stand. I also added a spider made out of the scrap offcuts of the bar I used, and a scrap bit of tube. I then hung the spider from the web at the top of the stand, and this looks so cool. good luck with the giveaway and thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do make any plant pot stands, be sure to tag me in them as I'd love to see them.